Hey, welcome back to How to Barbecue Right. I'm Malcolm Reed. Today I'm going to show you how I do char glazed ribs. I've got a couple slabs of St. Louis cut ribs. We're going to smoke them for the first half of this cook, but we're going to finish them with a nice thin glaze over some direct heat on a charcoal grill. It's going to be that Rib Fest rib, or a great way to bring ribs back if you're reheating them the next day. You're going to love this recipe. Let's get to cooking. So I've got a couple slabs of St. Louis cut ribs today. I started with whole slabs of spare rib, just cut that breastbone off with my knife, squared these racks up, and that's what turns them into that St. Louis cut. Of course, I removed the membrane from the backside and cleaned off any excess fat or skin. It's got a little fat, that's okay, that's all flavor. The first thing we're gonna do is, just like any other slabs of rib, we're gonna get some seasoning on them. I'm just going with a base coat of that savory seasoning, AP rub, salt, pepper, garlic. It's gonna give these ribs some great flavor. Goes good with the pork. Then we need some barbecue rub on them. A little sweet heat action. Killer Hogs AP barbecue rub. But hey, if you got a favorite seasoning, go ahead and use it on them, man. You can do these ribs any way you like. This is how we like to eat them at my house. Pat it in a little bit. We're not rubbing it in. We just want it to stick. Flip them over and let's give them the same treatment. A little of that AP savory seasoning. Come back with some rub. Just a medium coat. We're not getting heavy, not crazy here. We're gonna get all that flavor from that char grilling process at the end of this. We really bake on that sauce. So now we just need to let these ribs hang out, rest a minute. They're gonna start sweating. Some of the moisture is gonna start coming out. It's gonna melt that rub and that seasoning in, draw in some of that flavor. So let's talk about the equipment we're gonna use today. The first thing I'm gonna do is fire up my drum smoker. I'm gonna use some good B&B lump charcoal, get a good fire going. We're gonna be burning between 250, 275 degrees. Throw a little bit of cherry wood on there for some smoke. It's gonna be perfect for these ribs. Once we get them smoked, you're gonna need a grill, some direct heat. And I'm gonna get my PK going just over a good medium fire, and that's where we're gonna char grill that flavor into these ribs after they've rested. So you really need a grill and a smoker for this setup today, or one that'll do both, like an egg or something like that. Right, so the drum's rolling about 250 degrees, got a little bit of light smoke coming from that cherry grill wood I dropped on those hot coals. The grate's in place. Now we're ready to put our ribs on. You just want to put them on and make sure they're straight. They're gonna cook exactly how you lay them on this rack. So if you put them on curve, they're gonna cook curved. Just lay one there, one here. Let's get the lid closed. So now we're just gonna keep the lid closed and let them smoke. We're gonna baste them, a little bit of apple juice here in just a little bit. We need about 30, 45 minutes. Keep them nice and moist. And we're gonna smoke these ribs for a couple hours, then we're gonna wrap them in some butcher paper and put them back on, get them nice and tender. We'll show you all that in just a few minutes. Y'all stick around. All right, our ribs have been on about 45 minutes. We're gonna take a look at them. We're gonna go ahead and spritz them. They are looking good. So we're just gonna give them a light spray. This is just regular apple juice in here, nothing fancy. I just wanna keep the tops of them moist. They're looking good. You just don't want them to dry out. Doesn't need a whole lot. That's simple as that. Get the lid closed. We're gonna continue to cook them. We still got about another hour and 15 minutes before we think about wrapping. So our ribs have been on about 2 hours. We've kept them sprayed, so they've got plenty of moisture on them. This is what they look like when it's time to wrap them. You can see we got some good color on them. We're catching them just before they start to turn dark. This is the color I want to see. So what I'm gonna do is just carefully take them off the rack here. They still got a ways to go. We still gotta render them and get them tender, but beautiful color. So we're gonna take them over the cutting board, wrap them up, get them right back on the pit. Looks awesome. So I've just got a sheet of peach butcher paper, pink butcher paper, you see it called. It's just unlined, unwaxed paper, and that's what we're gonna wrap these ribs with today. And I'm using these because it'll absorb some of that fat that cooks out. It's gonna get our ribs really tender, but it's gonna keep that bark nice and firm on it instead of soft and mushy. Meat side down, notice I did that? We're gonna tuck this side over. Just flip it over on it. Now we're going meat down, so I'm just gonna fold them back like this. This is gonna hold everything in. When we lay it down, it won't unfold. Nice, neat little package. Ready to go right back on the smoker with these ribs. And they're gonna need about an hour and a half to get tender. Then we're gonna let them rest. Just place them right back on the pit. All there is to it, locked up in that butcher paper. The lid closed here. And we're gonna let them get tender. Still holding those temps. 250 to 275 degrees. We don't care about smoke at this point. Our wood's used up. It's just about the heat, just about getting these ribs tender. All right, our ribs have been on about an hour and a half, and this is where we want to check them. They ought to be real close to being done. So I'm gonna pull them out here. We're gonna go over to the cutting board with them, and we're gonna check them and see if they're tender where we want them. So let's open one up here, see what it looks like after it's been cooking about 1.5 hours in our butcher paper. You can see that paper soaked up a lot of the juice. Got some really good drawback. Oh yeah, these ribs are tender now. I mean, they can take them and bend if I wanted to, but what we want to do is close them back up and we're just gonna let them hang out. This is the point to where if you were cooking these ribs at home and you wanted to serve them the next day, you could put them in a pan, let them cool off, and then get them in the refrigerator and hold them. Bring them back tomorrow over that hot charcoal fire. It's exactly what we're gonna do. I'm gonna let them rest for about 1 hour or so, then I'm gonna fire up my PK360, get a good medium hot grill going, my grill grates on top, and then we're gonna char glaze these ribs. It's gonna be excellent. All right, so I've got the PK grill fired up. It's got a good medium high heat on it because you need that to char glaze these ribs. Now our ribs rested for about 1.5 hours here. If you were bringing them out of the refrigerator the next day, you just wanna let them come up to room temp before you get ready to glaze them. So now we're just gonna unwrap them, transfer them over to a platter here. Man, these things look great. They're cool enough to work with, but you still want to be careful because they're tender. You don't want to break them up. And we're going to put them on the back side first. But that's the first side going down. We're going to go ahead and glaze this side. So I've just got some sauce in a squeeze bottle, and this is just a 50-50 blend of my The Barbecue sauce and my vinegar sauce. You can use whatever sauce you like. I just like it to be a little runny. You want it thinned down, so the vinegar sauce really thins it down some. You could use apple juice. You could, just add anything you want to thin your sauce down a little bit. You want it at least room temperature. It doesn't hurt if it's a little warm even. And we're just gonna brush this on the back side of these ribs. And we're ready to go to the grill. We're gonna move these ribs right to this hot PK. You can hear it right away start sizzling. I've got it right on these grill grates. That's gonna keep the flare-ups down. What we're gonna do now is the bottom side heats up, starts to caramelize. We're gonna go ahead and sauce the top of these ribs. Get a little bit combo sauce on them. Get our grill brush, just brush it on. And man, this smell right here is fantastic. You can see these grates are good and hot. We just need a couple minutes here on each side. So we're just char glazing them on each side for a few minutes. They've been down about 3 minutes. So we're gonna go ahead and flip them over. See how this backside's looking. I mean, look at that. We've already got some char marks. That sauce is setting perfect. Let's do the same thing to this set. Oh yeah. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. So we've been about 4 minutes on both sides, and I know these ribs have to be ready. Let's just flip them back over. I mean, look at that. We got the char marks on them. That sauce is caramelized up. I mean, that's what you want to see. I mean, it's beautiful right there. So I'm going to get these ribs off, man. They are done. They are ready to eat. I mean, look at that. That is gorgeous. I mean, char glazed rib. Ooh, that's pretty. So I just brought the ribs to the cutting board. I mean, they're ready to cut up now, so let's just get to it. I'm gonna recap while we're doing this. We just started with some St. Louis cut ribs. I kept the seasoning simple. Use your favorite rub. I went with the AP and my barbecue rub. And we got them on the pit. We were just smoking them for the first half because that was the easy part, the smoking. What made them special was after they'd smoked for 2 hours and we wrapped them and got them tender, we heated up our PK grill, that charcoal grill. We got our grill grates good and hot. It was about a medium fire. And then we just glazed these ribs and we let them char up on both sides about 4 minutes. And that's what gave them that beautiful appearance, that charred look. And that's how I wanted to finish these. It's a great way to reheat ribs. I mean, these turned out phenomenal. I mean, that's a thing of beauty there. You see the smoke ring on these ribs. Plenty of moisture in it. They're still juicy, but you can see the char marks across the top. That's what makes them so good. And I'm just cutting these into single bone pieces. You can cut them up however you wanted to. There's no right or wrong way. You could probably eat a whole slab of these though, because these are good eating ribs. I'm gonna pick this one out here to bite. I mean, look at that. It's juicy as it can be. Let's see what it tastes like. That's a winner right there. Tender, packed full of flavor. The char on it's incredible. The way that sauce caramelizes, you can get that charcoal flavor right off those grill grates. I mean, it's just awesome. I mean, that's a rib fest rib, backyard rib, whatever you want to call it. It's good eats. I mean, that's the way I want to eat a rib. Bones clean. That's phenomenal. And you can also serve sauce on the sides of these ribs, but you really don't need it because we've cooked all that sauce on. It's caramelized over that hot charcoal fire. Now this is a recipe that's great if you're pressed for time, you want to take some ribs to an event, but you don't have time to do them that day. You can do them the day before, put them in the refrigerator, set them out the next morning, and then all you need is a charcoal grill to bring them back. You're getting all that flavor. They're still going to be tender. They're still going to be juicy. It's just a great way to serve ribs. Hey, thanks for checking us out today at How to Barbecue Right. If you like what we're doing, subscribe to our channel. You can send comments to our Facebook and our Twitter feeds as well. We try to answer all those. We'll see y'all next time. I'm gonna pour me out just a dab of vinegar. I'm gonna grab one of these little ribs. Oh, that little end one's got my name on it. I'm gonna sop it in a little vinegar. Man, that meat just jumps off that bone. Look at that, shell. That's fantastic. I mean, it's not a contest rib. This is an eaten rib. That's barbecue. We gotta find somebody to share these with. I got it all over me, but you know what? I don't care, because barbecue's supposed to be messy.